Throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball After, Kakarot has been on a complete rampage, taking out the likes of Oob, Vegeta, Fat Boo, which he killed with a dark and evil spirit bomb, and now in the most recent chapter, he's just straight up destroyed his own son Gohan in a single point-blank blast. Now leading into the final chapter so far of Young Gigi's Dragon Ball After, Piccolo is the last resort in the line of defense against the rampaging and murderous Kakarot. Now you might think that Piccolo has no chance of defeating Kakarot, but this Piccolo develops a new technique, or it's rather a modification of a very old one that is very useful today, and I absolutely love what Young Gigi did with this, so let's dive in as the battle goes on, with Piccolo actually landing devastating blows against Kakarot, who is now highly confused because there's no way that someone like Piccolo should be causing so much damage to him. Now, Kakarot thinks that Piccolo has actually learned the Kaioken or something like it, because it seems like his battle power has not increased, but his attacks are doing devastating damage. Whatever the case, Kakarot figures, I just have to kill him soon.
俺のところに悟空が来たんだ。
ああ、ついてこいよ。おめえはよ、自分の強さに自信がありすぎるんだ。そのせいで好きだらけなんだよ。さてと。オラの体がどのくらいまで持ちこたえられっかな。
すぐにわかるさ。ほざけ。奴をなんとか探して殺すか。
海洋圏を3倍まで上げて。
Right now, Kakarot's trying to figure out Piccolo. Is he bluffing? Why is Piccolo acting like he has some special ability or some super move that he's overwhelmingly confident that he can use to defeat Kakarot? But the point remains that he wasn't able to scratch Piccolo, but Piccolo did so much damage. So there's gotta be some way that he can beat Piccolo. I love that Young Gigi brought Piccolo back and made him relevant again. This is something that Dragon Ball fans have wanted tremendously throughout Dragon Ball Super, but he seems to just be simply a sideline character for the rest of the series. And without further ado, Piccolo jumps into action. Kakarot can't understand what's happening because there's no change in Piccolo's combat power, but somehow he's able to keep fighting. And right now, Piccolo and Kakarot are toe-to-toe. In fact, it's more so that Piccolo actually has the advantage. What is this strange feeling that I'm experiencing? I know I could destroy Piccolo's body just a while ago simply by touching him, because before he just flew past and blew off, ripped off Piccolo's arm. Now his attacks are connecting and even damaging me. It's not the Kaioken, but still he's managed to fill the huge gap in power difference between us. Even if he trains so much, there's no way he could reach the level that I'm on. What exactly happened here after I disappeared for a few minutes? We're gonna find that out. Basically, Piccolo has created this new technique on the fly. Kakarot even giving him praise for thinking that he never would have imagined someone like Piccolo would give him more of a struggle than some of these other fighters. But why has he stopped? So it seems that Piccolo is taking a lot of damage to his body from using this technique similar to the Kaioken, although it really shouldn't be. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the future. You can see Piccolo has these veins coming out of his head and everything in his neck, and he's really straining here in order to use this technique. It could be simply because it requires a lot of body concentration. It could also be that he's simply fighting an opponent hundreds of times stronger than him, and he's using a very risky technique in order to fight back, so he's sweating bullets. That could also be it. But somehow, even though Piccolo has gained this tremendous increase in power enough to hurt Kakarot, he's still somehow able to keep up and match Kakarot in speed, which once we teach you about this technique doesn't also make too much sense. I mean, especially with this new Zenkai boost that Kakarot has gained, his speed should just be so fast that Piccolo shouldn't even be able to see him. And somehow he's able to block these attacks and dance around in the air as Kakarot comes in for the finishing blow, but Piccolo is able to block it and then return. Piccolo's simply buying time for Goten and Trunks to recover, but that's really the only plan he has. there's not really any other plan, and Piccolo keeps talking about how he's trying to save time, which I still don't fully understand, but it will be important as you see at the end of this chapter. And now we're going to get an explanation as to what Piccolo's ability actually is. As he was thinking about all of his previous battles in the last chapter, thinking about anything that he could use to potentially defeat or even hurt or stall Kakarot, he remembered the Makanko Sapo. So Kami inside of him, you know, Piccolo's fused with Kami. Kami starts showing him some imagery. They don't talk to each other like in Team 4 Stars videos, but Kami is able to communicate. And back then, Piccolo was able to use a technique to beat a far superior opponent by concentrating all of his energy into a single point. Now, this technique out of Piccolo is basically that he's able to concentrate all of his ki into a single limb or body part that he uses only at the point of contact. So if he's punching, he'll move all of his ki, his entire body's worth of ki, into his arm, or if it's a kick, he'll move it all into his leg. And this way he's able to amplify the amount of strength out of that one limb a dramatic amount. And this is even more so an ability right up Piccolo's alley because it is kind of like the Makanko Sapo. Imagine if every one of his attacks was a Makanko Sapo. That's how strong Piccolo is right now. Although I still don't think a full-powered Makanko Sapo would actually destroy Kakarot, but in this story, it's enough. I guess he's been training and he's had enough of a power boost for something like that to actually inflict great damage. Now, back in the Saiyan saga, Piccolo was only able to use the Makanko Sapo twice, and it put a ridiculous amount of strain on his body and his ki in order to use that ability, and I guess that's why he's been sweating and the veins are bulging out of his head. It's not an easy technique to use. It probably requires an enormous amount of ki just to be moving the ki around in your body in that manner. King Kai even recognizes Piccolo's technique and says it's very similar to the 10 times Kaioken. The only difference is this technique is only putting that power into a single limb, whereas the Kaioken is your entire body. And the weakness to this is that it leaves the entire rest of his body completely vulnerable. When a particular part of his body gets all of that ki, the other parts of his body go down to 0 power level. So if he fails at his time of attack or defense, he's completely screwed. Meanwhile, his stamina consumption for this feat is immeasurable. While I like this technique a lot, Kakarot is still simply fighting in Super Saiyan 1, I believe, right now. So at any point, he could just go Super Saiyan 3, and Piccolo literally, even with this technique, wouldn't be able to do anything. I like Young Gigi a lot. I really love Dragon Ball After, but this writing, I think in my review, is just a little bit sloppy because you're basically wasting an entire chapter on this Piccolo Kaioken that Goku's struggling with, but he could easily just upgrade his transformation at any point and just simply wipe out Kakarot in a single blow. So I kind of wish he would have progressed the story more with all of these amazing pages that he's drawn. I felt like this writing was a little bit weak, although it was appreciated that he did give Piccolo a new power-up, because that's something that everybody has wanted to see for a very long time. The tricky and conniving Kakarot has figured out Piccolo's plan and what he's doing and how his technique is similar to the Kaioken, and that's pretty much it for Piccolo. All his abilities have been used up, all the tricks up his sleeve are gone, and right now he's simply buying time for Goten and Trunks to heal up so that the fusion of Gotenks will be the last and final resort in Earth's arsenal. However, Young Gigi wants to give Piccolo even more juice, and Piccolo lands a devastating blow in the middle of Kakarot's stomach. You can feel the pain coming out of that one great panel showing the damage, but Kakarot uses that opportunity to catch Piccolo's hand, who smirks and then uses his Namekian ability to stretch out his fist and make the punch go even deeper, which really looks painful. Kakarot recovers from that and still can't believe how much damage he's taking from Piccolo, and again I'm asking myself, why isn't Kakarot just transforming? He could easily just go Super Saiyan 2 even, the 50 times multiplier. Piccolo wouldn't be able to stand a chance. And Kakarot's just simply giving Piccolo time. See, this isn't Goku. This isn't the Goku that lets people go all out on him before he finally defeats them. This is the Kakarot who just one-shots you, like classic Namek Saga Vegeta, who does not wait and just obliterates anybody before the battle can even get deep. This Kakarot, for whatever reason, is acting like Goku a little bit. He's allowing Piccolo to get the time he needs. Originally, he gave him a 10-second countdown to run away. It was kind of sadistic at that point. And also, Kakarot shouldn't really have any fears right now except for the Dragon Balls being used against him somehow. Piccolo is basically his #1 enemy, and I don't understand why he's not just obliterating Piccolo by turning into Super Saiyan 3 like he did against Vegeta and just one-shotting Piccolo so he's not a threat anymore. Kakarot even acknowledges in his own panel here from young Gigi that he needs to think or do something soon, or Piccolo is going to peel off his skin and figure him out and figure out a way to defeat him. So why aren't you transforming, bro? I don't get it. Kakarot powered up there, and he must have raised his ki to maximum as his speed jumps tremendously. He flies in and lands a devastating punch on Piccolo, but it doesn't really seem to do too much damage. I think Piccolo used his power concentration technique and put all of his energy into his stomach there to make it strong enough that he wouldn't take a lot of damage. Now he uses power concentration and puts the energy into his eyes so that they're fast enough to track the hyperspeed Kakarot that's dashing around him. So this is crazy. I mean, I love that. That's a really cool idea, and how Piccolo can amplify any body part of his tenfold by using this technique. Seeing a flying kick coming in, Piccolo uses power concentration and puts the energy into his arms so that he can block. But even with the power concentration, the damage is so high that it still sends Piccolo flying. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this technique took up, I don't know, 30 pages or more of explanation and all this stuff. And Kakarot easily, he's thousands of times stronger than Piccolo even using this technique if he goes into Super Saiyan 3. Piccolo is getting completely overwhelmed. He dodges a punch somehow, and then he lands on a rock. And he says to himself, I need to maintain my full power state. The power concentration technique requires more time with every attempt. It's tricky. It's used to stand a chance against stronger foes, but like Kaioken, it can't be used for a long duration. It's a scrappy technique. In the end, it's pretty incomplete. He's still trying to buy more time because he realized from Tien that Gohan is still alive. So we thought that Gohan got obliterated in the last chapter in a single shot by his father, but it appears Gohan's still alive. Maybe he can do something in the future, although I doubt it. So Piccolo's going to try and buy as much time as he possibly can. And inadvertently, Piccolo doesn't realize, as we see into the last panel here of the final written chapter so far for Dragon Ball After, that Vegeta awakens from the Boo pod, from when Fat Boo had saved him. This is a fully healed, rested, and recovered Vegeta that no doubt has gotten a massive Zenkai boost after his battle with Kakarot. So, I don't think young Gigi's going to continue Dragon Ball After. I hope he does, but if he does, I think this Vegeta will have a really good chance of fighting Kakarot again for round 2 and potentially having some new form or have gained some new sort of ability from this Zenkai boost. We know that Kakarot, after his battle with Vegeta, was pushed so far beyond his limits that he ascended and now was able to see like parallel universes and all this stuff. That was an interesting chapter 6. I think Vegeta is going to get something similar. He's going to get an incredible power boost, and he could have a chance to keep up with Kakarot or potentially end this entire series. I have a feeling that he may just hit Goku on the back of the head again and perhaps wake him up and make him a good guy again, but I don't know. I hope young Gigi will write this. I don't see him getting Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan 5, so could he get Ultra Instinct? I think that would be super cool. Who knows? Maybe young Gigi just doesn't know how to write himself out of this. Maybe he just wrote himself into a hole and he doesn't want to continue anymore. I mean, I'm sure he put in just tremendous hours, an insane amount of work to make these volumes for free over a span of I don't know how many years. Maybe he just got burnt out. But I just want to say thank you, young Gigi, for making such an incredible fan manga and story. I love what you did with this. Your art is out of this world, and I had such a blast reviewing this with my viewers. If you guys want to support young Gigi, you can at least tell him that you loved Dragon Ball After. The link for his Twitter is in the description, so go show him some love and thank him, and I'll see you guys soon for the next video.